All right. Wow. That was just so moving. I mean, it's incredible. I want to introduce, of course, our two wonderful panelists, Jeanie, who directed that masterpiece, and Shanida Scott, who, of course, equally a partner in its success in every way. She's the head of the of film at the Doc Society, which helped partly fund the film.
That's
so
correct.
Welcome to you both. I do have to ask you first, Jeanie, where did you find Stan? I mean, to have a character like that, on which this so depends, your enjoyment of this thing is so dependent on Stan. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure that, he didn't just wander into your office. So how did you find Stan?
Well, I grew up here. This is the first beach I went on as a child, and my mother swims in the sea, in the North Sea. And I was told about the story, and then I realised that my mum had been protesting it. She'd been making these signs saying, "Why did the crabs die?" And she put me in touch with someone, and I met Stan. The first time I met him, he just said, "You never have to knock on our door, kidda. It's always open to you." Mm. Took me out on the boat and got me helming the boat. Like, I've learned how to helm a fishing boat quite badly. But as soon as Stan, I'm always looking for people who know who they are. Stan absolutely knows who he is, and he's always the same. And so for me, it was just immediate. He had to be the heart of the film, really.
Yeah, well, he is the heart of the film, and he is, in my view, he's destined to be the next Mr. Bates in the post office. I hope everybody here will try and make that happen, because he is absolutely extraordinary. How long did you spend filming him, and what was it like going out on those boats?
I mean, I've had to learn how to not be seasick. It's pretty rough when the sea gets going. It's pretty hard going. Filmed for the production took roughly 4 years. Amazing. We were editing. Nicole Halliver, the brilliant editor, is here, and we edited roughly 7 months. But I think that's the thing about making a feature documentary, independent feature documentaries, is you have time. And so time can elapse. And when Stan watched the film, he sort of said, this has got to the heart of it, the bereavement that we felt, because we were able to show change over time rather than, just a 2-minute TV segment where everything's caricatured. This allows us to show the repeated denials and the challenges that they face to try and get justice.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, was it really hard, sort of challenging technically to film? Sorry. Thank you. Yes, no, I'm sorry. Could you not hear anything? That's terrible. Thank you for doing that. No, I always want to do that to other people on the stage, and now I'm not doing. Was it very technically challenging to film on that bobbing boat and that rough boat? I mean,
it's an absolute nightmare, honestly, and it's dirty and stinky, and there's fish everywhere, or not fish, residue of fish.
Right.
It's hard going, and also those lobster pots are devastatingly heavy. They're like I've been weight training, so I was like, I'll pick one up. They're 100 weight.
Wow.
Each pot, and they're covered in sort of stinging stuff from jellyfish. But we face a challenge, and like even the opening of the film, those crabster and lobsters and crabs,
lobs. Yeah.
I filmed those by dangling off the side of a fishing boat with a pole and a new underwater camera that I'd bought. And it was so tiny, I had no idea what I'd got until I opened the camera up and was like, oh yeah, this is the opening of the film.
Well, those magical fish at the beginning, the lobsters, the crabs. I mean, you fall in love with them, actually. I felt in love with them, and I've never had this great feeling about lobsters and crabs, but you gave it to me. So, I mean, it was incredible. And I mean, did you expect him to transform into an environmentalist? I mean, as the film opened, as you followed it in 4 years, did he become, this kind of campaigning person?
I think he would never, ever describe himself as... He would never say he was a campaigner, but he has reluctantly adopted the mantle of activist.
Yeah.
And I think that's partly in response to the names that he's been called by local politicians. And I think activists can quite often be used as an insult.
It has, hasn't it? It's become a word
absolutely.
of abuse. I know it has. It's actually true.
It's really part of the discredit, disallow. If you just dismiss people as activists, then you can dismiss anything that they're bringing to you.
Yeah, that is absolutely right. Shanida, what was it about Jeannie's film that particularly resonated with you and made you feel, I'm going to bring my funding to this?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Jeanie is an incredibly accomplished filmmaker. I've been lucky enough to work with Jeanie before this film, commissioning both within funding within Doc Society, but also in a previous life at BBC Storyville as well. And so absolutely knew the brilliant intimacy that Jeanie has always been able to achieve through her filmmaking. And of course, that community and individuals are at the heart of what she does. But for this particular film, we were just talking about it, just watching Stan, getting to know Stan, and watching someone sort of emerge and claim himself as an activist, claim politics potentially as something that is part of his life and actually he's actively doing and enacting through doing his work. Watching that sort of political emergence really was so intriguing for me. And I really appreciate that you used the phrase falling in love with the crabs and the lobsters, because actually, a bit lofty, but I actually fell in love with Stan.
Me too, absolutely.
Getting to know someone over this long period of time, watching him emerge, watching him open up. For Stan and his community, he described it, politics was a thing that happened in London. And actually just being on the ship with him, watching it bob up and down, thank you, Jeanie, and being embedded with the community was absolutely the number one attractive thing.
Yeah, and it really points up the failure of local journalism too. When my husband was editor of the Northern Echo, which was this part of the world, I mean, he would have just been splashing this on the page. And of course, there is a clear villain in the mayor, right? I mean, it's boo hiss when he gets his peerage, right? I mean, I'm sure you'll find that when the film comes out. So, I mean, Shanida, you've been on sort of both sides of things now. I mean, you're obviously a creative, but now you're a wallet. So, I mean,
love it.
Having been both sides of that, I mean, you know how people passionately want to do these creative projects, and most of the time they only want to do all the outlets sort of only seem to want true crime and just celebrity dross, right? And I know so many creatives who are in this position where they have wonderful projects you can't wait to see, but you're never going to see them because they can't get the funding. So how are you balancing it now that you're giving the money? Is it your mission to sort of try to change that? Or, I mean, obviously the reality is they have to be accepted, and even when they're funded, they've got to be exhibited.
Doc Society was founded in the belief that, first of all, we could advocate for, champion and crucially fund independent documentary filmmakers globally. But also that's about the fact it's a belief in documentary film, right? They have the power to impact and change communities, individuals and societies too. And so it's always not just about the funding for us. Of course, that's crucial, keeping the pipeline open so that documentary films can be made and independent makers can continue to make that work. But it's also about the ecosystem and the universe around that making that's been important to us. So we have a range of funds, but we're also advocating for independent documentary filmmakers globally. We're forming deep partnerships with broadcasters and distributors and other community-led or community-based documentary-focused organisations in the UK and beyond as well. So absolutely, it's both balancing all of that, but keeping the pipeline open, getting funding to independent documentary filmmakers in the UK and beyond is crucial to our
And what about the distribution? I mean, how are you going to make sure that these things get picked up?
It's a really difficult time. I think it was spoken about a little bit in the panel earlier this morning. The fact is that funding is reduced and the distribution of documentary films, we're experiencing a moment where there's less screens, theatrical screens for films to be shown and to have that moment of community with audiences. And so they are having a tougher time getting out there. But also on the other side, from the big screen to the smaller screen, we're seeing pressure applied to public service broadcast as well. So whether it's, we know what's happening in the US, you may know what's happening in Denmark with DR. And so there's lots of other examples at the moment. But there are films and filmmakers that are really taking the lead here. And Jeanie's actually one of them in terms of experimenting with community-based screenings, getting into sort of grassroots community organisations, and also alternative platforms too. So it's an everything. It is tough out there. And it's about making sure that distributors and sales agents and PSBs and all of the village it takes to help films get to audiences are doing their part. But there's great innovation that's happening.
Jeanie, how hard was it you to get the funding? I mean, it was...
My brilliant fellow producer, Charlie Phillips, is here. And we raised money from 12 different pots. We went out internationally. But what I was going to say is, can I use a fishing analogy here? So when it comes to distribution... So Suzanne Alazar and I, my co-founder, have just set up a creative distribution company, Glimmerama. My company's Glimmer Films, the distribution arm is Glimmerama. If you're a fisher and you go out and you just lower a pot and you expect to get a fish, it's not going to happen. They use radar. They survey the water. And what we've been doing is really doing deep research, finding where the audiences are. How do you keep a conversation going so that the storytelling bleeds into the world long after the credits have rolled, so that when you actually take it out, the audience shows up. Right. And that's what we're doing, and that's what we hope to be doing with this.
Perhaps conversely, ahead of it. I mean,
we're doing that now, and we've been doing it for 6 months.
Yeah, which I think is very smart. What would both of you advise young filmmakers here, or, people who've got projects which they know are absolutely incredible, love projects like yours, in going about getting funding? I mean, how would you suggest, Shanida, people are coming to you every day, which must be quite difficult. What is your advice in kind of their pitch? Like, what are you looking for?
I'm looking for great storytelling, first of all. I'm looking for filmmakers that really care about the stories that they're telling, that they're non-extractive, and that is, as you saw on the screen with Jeanie's work, that there's meaningful engagement with the communities and the individuals that you're focusing on in your work. But also just, there are funds out there. There are limited funds, but there are funds. And don't be scared to go and advocate for yourselves as filmmakers outside of the sort of traditional spaces. You can come to Doc Society, you can go to the BFI, you can go to other funds, but also look at those smaller pots of money that will help you get on the ground, your camera's going, and at least start making your films and getting that work out there.
Jeanie, I have a question just for you as we sort of go to the last minute here. What has been the impact for Stan? I know it hasn't come out yet, but how's he doing? What are they doing now? And can this film still impact their lives?
What I'm hopeful is that the film will re-energize their fundraising so they can get further testing done, because the answer is they need more money to do that. What they have done recently, this is what's happened since we finished filming, is local scientists and Stan, they took the PD ports to court and they got the dredging license paused, and it has to be reassessed because they were handed a 10-year license. They're supposed to, according to the OSPAR Convention, they're supposed to do 800 tests in Teesside. I think they did less than 50, which is, it's just devastatingly outrageous. Stan will be at our UK premiere at Sheffield Doc Fest. Follow the film at All Rivers Spill on Instagram, or just find me. I'm easy to find. You will be bombarded with things about the film. But Stan is doing okay, and the fight is keeping him going.
Well, that's very pleasing for us to hear, and I'm really grateful for you letting us have a sneak peek at the film before it hits its premiere in June, which is going to be very big, I know, at the Sheffield Doc Fest, which is a very highly regarded festival. So I'm so thrilled that we were able to do this today, and we're really rooting for you all the way, and for Stan. Thank you so much, Shanida.
Thank you, Tina. Thank you.
And we're now going, is it upstairs or down? we're now going upstairs to have drinks and socialise. Pizza. And pizza. And pizza.